Hey everybody, we are live. It's FA Cup time, hopes. Another win for Arsenal in the third round versus Leeds United FC.
Absolutely, another W all the way. Um,
I, I could
the
get
FA
used to
Cup.
this.
Oh, it's nice, isn't it?
Yeah,
Fourth game, second win, second win at home, and yeah, it's the cup of dreams, where dreams are made.
yeah. And first generation member the three FA Cups in the last decade. It sounds so long ago now. Really, 3 or 4 years ago was our last one versus Chelsea. We can all remember, all Arsenal fans remember FA Cup triumphs. Now we have to scan back a little further for league triumphs, but I for one value the cup. What about you, Hopes?
Definitely, it's embossed in our history. We've won it the most times, 13 times. I was lucky. I went to the game today, Ray. And on the way down, I got speaking to a couple of Gooners. They were not regular game goers as such,
Yeah,
but that doesn't make a difference. I mean, they admitted, they like the cup games because of the atmosphere, because of the possibilities, and because of games like Leeds United. Anything's possible. We saw the scum down the road. They drew to Middlesbrough, despite fielding a very strong team.
yeah, yeah.
Not not many upsets. Generally there are FA Cup upsets. I know we went out many years ago.
Wigan,
Wigan,
Wrexham,
Wrexham. I remember I was a young lad. Yeah, in my teenage
1990.
years.
I
Yeah,
think it was
yeah.
1990.
So a bit younger than teenage actually. Gosh, I'm showing my age here now. And Wrexham. Yeah,
I
when they
still
when
remember
they
that
beat.
free kick. It was a rocket.
I still remember going to school the next day and just getting hammered.
Was it Mickey Adams? Nicky or Mickey Adams, something like that.
I
Anyway,
won't pretend to know.
no. Somebody can fact check us. Drop it in the comments. Let us know. Um, Hopes. I thought it was quite a decent team that Arteta put out today.
Maximum respect, my friends. Maximum respect for the opposition, for the manager. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. They're joint first in the championship for a reason. He's,
Yes. Yeah.
their manager Marcelo has been with them for a while, and he's really got them playing well. Very strict system, very very well drilled. A well-oiled machine overall.
Yeah. I mean, we were perhaps lucky with the draw. You would probably think if we played at Ellen Road at their place, we'd get turned over probably on our early infancy of Arteta ball.
Possibility, but hey, I mean we're walking out the Emirates with a win, so yeah. But I mean our away form, Lacazette not, even though he's there, he's not really turning up. So where would the goals have come from, and so on and so forth. But I thought it was a massive thumbs up to Mikel Arteta for giving him so much respect, and it shows why, and it shows it was required, it was needed.
Yeah. Let's just go through the team. Martinez played in goal. Um, Socrates, Rob Holding, and David Luiz in a three at the back, right? Um, was Nelson our wing back with Kolasinac today?
No, huh?
That's how I'm reading it. I haven't seen the game.
This is insane. I put out a tweet when I saw the team sheet 3-5-2. It was so weird. It was at times. Socrates was actually our right back, so it was a four. Um,
With
and
Kolasinac coming in.
absolutely.
Okay.
Socrates was actually hugging the halfway line, just like Ainsley Maitland-Niles has been doing, and it
Yeah.
was just immense to see. When you watch the highlights back, you'll see he was actually making forward runs. Socrates. Socrates, like, turned into a right back. It was crazy to see, and as I said, I was at the game and being around people. They kept on commenting on the fact that Socrates is not a right back. He's not a right back. But for me, he was really good. He was good.
So obviously we'll talk about the goal and all of that and how the game transpired. But for me, just going on bare highlights that I've seen on YouTube and what I've seen in WhatsApp groups and one on Twitter, seems like we rode our luck a little bit in the first half. There was something of a bollocking handed out at halftime by Arteta, but on the face of it, for me, I think it's very, very brave for the coach to actually try a new formation with the players. So they're learning all the time. And my takeaway is a clean sheet, gaining confidence, belief in the manager, the coach, and momentum. That lovely word, momentum.
Yeah, there's quite a few points you raised there. New formation, um, the bollocking, um, not really playing well in the first half. You see, I was in my usual seat in the North Bank, and I was surrounded by, first and foremost, I was disappointed. Not the usual group were there. It seems like a lot of season ticket holders had sold their tickets. They were widely available for face
Yeah.
value on Twitter. Um, and I thought, I'm going to go down, let's check it out. It's a cup game. You never know what's going to happen. Leeds being a good side. Leeds fans were very vocal. Hats off to you guys. But for 25 minutes, I thought exactly what you just said. Arsenal haven't turned up. What's going on? We're losing possession. Leeds are all over us. Um, we need to regroup. We need to regroup. Um, it was after 20 minutes of shouting that I just sat down and I thought, no, hold on, what's going on here? We are pinned into a half. We're not coming out of our half. What am I missing? What am I missing? Because I sit high up, I get a really good view of the grounds. And then it came to me. We're not meant to take the game to them, and it changed my entire perspective of the game. The way I was suddenly looking at our players and what they were doing. Um, I don't think we played sloppy in that first half, contrary to popular belief. I personally think we, you see, look at it this way: a team joint first in the championship, who are well-oiled system, who know
Yeah.
their positions, know what to do. If we competed with them, they would have turned us over. Like they would have found pockets, they would
Yeah.
have found holes. So Arteta, I believe, masterclass genius that he is, in my opinion, because of based on this one game, what he's done is he said we're not going to compete. Um, we're going to contain. We're,
Right out the storm.
yeah, we're gonna ride out the storm because you know what? It reminds me of the second half against Man United, game management.
Yeah.
He, Mikel said something along the lines of,
He did. He did say for the United game though, it wasn't by design that United did push him back. And we did
yeah,
have that great debate on the Manchester United game.
but he said for this game, um, yeah, that the first 35 minutes we cannot play with that rhythm against a top side like them who batters opponents every three
Yeah.
days.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
tried,
even if they're in the championship every week, they're getting
yeah,
results.
he
They've been in every situation at halftime, full time. So they're a well-oiled machine, like you said.
And he goes on to say, Arteta, this is, I tried to tell them before the game to convince them that this is what they should expect, but I think they had to experience it. And experience it they did. Initially I thought, oh my God, we're missing Torreira, we're missing our right back. And then when I had that thought and I just sat and I watched and I thought, no, hold on. We're literally just trying to frustrate the other team. I think Martinez took about 15 shots in the first half alone. He made some beautiful, beautiful saves.
Yeah.
And I thought any minute now, one of them's going to go in. So, I know it's about opinions, and maybe some of your viewers will think, no, we played sloppy, we played crap. But after the 20, 25 minutes, I actually thought, hang on a minute, are we gonna have a burst of energy in the second half? So yeah, that was generally my opinion. That I don't think we played sloppy. There were individual performances in the first half. Xhaka was found wanting a few times. After about the fifth minute, there's a clip you'll see where Rob Holding really calls Xhaka out because he just didn't follow the man making the run, and the man making the run had like a clear shot on goal.
Yeah.
And I think that if we go with the contained philosophy of Mikel Arteta, it was an opportunity for this team to defend, and that's why Mikel Arteta did not play the likes of Emil Smith-Rowe, Saka, Willock. Willock came on, I know.
Yep.
John Jules, they were on the bench, but he did not play
Martinelli.
them. Even
Yep.
Martinelli. He could have he could have easily rested these players. I mean, I see some Arsenal fans were saying, "Oh, he's rested a lot of players, a lot of players." No, he's only rested Torreira and Aubameyang. And why is that? Because I think it was a good lesson, and it came off for the Arsenal players who played tonight to know how to manage games.
I've been told that Aubameyang is suffering with a flu. It's going through the squad a little bit. Um, that's something someone told me today. And but also Aubameyang, we knew he wasn't going to play today. He really needed a rest. He played something like all of the minutes except for maybe 30 in the Everton game, or however long that was when he came off. So
There is, I don't know if it's the same over there. Every year, as winter comes, there's a horrid bug that comes with it. It brings a horrid
yeah,
bug. This year, it's
yeah,
been the sore throat, and many Gooners, have players and fans alike, and half the UK population seem to have it. I know a lot of my friends do. So maybe, but I think it was good that he was rested, as was Torreira. It really made the likes of Guendouzi and Xhaka really, really stand up. And at times during the first half, Ray, I thought before I had a change of perspective, I thought, am I watching Unai Emery's Arsenal here? They're not. They're not exiting their own half.
yeah,
They're just,
yeah,
Laka kept coming back and saying, "Come on, push up, push up." Rob Holding, David Luiz were doing the same. But I noticed the balls, the defense and the midfield splitting balls that David Luiz plays. He was not playing them. It was really bizarre. We were just trying to play, really kind of defend, like keep the ball in our own half. Really bizarre. It was beyond me. And a few times Martinez did what Leno does. He held on to the ball too long, and it was frustrating. He nearly gave away a few. Nearly gave away a goal. By just playing into thin air. David Luiz around the 20th minute played a really silly ball to, I believe, Socrates, and you could see the ball was just not on, and it was a cross goal. And I think this is what we need to bring out, to remove from us from our game. But the only
yeah.
way we're going to do it is if we do
Exercised,
it on the pitch, not in training. Yeah,
exercise the demons, Hubs. Exercise the demons. And that's what we can take from this game. Like you said, Mikel Arteta told the team, hold on a minute. This is a good Leeds United team. In any code, in any league, if the team is at the top of the league and is winning games, like I said, they get into that habit. It's a habit. Winning is a habit, like losing has been a habit for us. And I'm just glad to see you making the W gesture with your hands again for the second time in a row in a matter of a few days. Um, But Mikel Arteta, I think that's going to engender belief amongst the squad now that he has told the players what's going to happen. They've come out the other side.
Yeah. What one thing I saw tonight, which was surprising, were there were four formations we were playing just in that first half alone: a 3-5-2, a 4-4-2, and a 4-2-4. Now, in order to play them, he's got to have trained those systems into them.
Worked it on the training pitch. Yeah.
But it's still very early. Let's not forget, it's off. Since Mikel's taken over the reins, it's 6 days he's had with them. Since like our last game was 6 days ago, a Premier League game,
Yep.
and 6 days later. So how much can he do? But I think the fact that the team are more accountable and they're playing more, as these are Mikel's words, as a collective. And having more responsibility. Yeah, it's showing, it's beginning to show, and I just hope we can continue to build on this performance. Going back to maybe it was defensive, maybe it wasn't defensive, who knows? But the fact that we rode our luck, because I was thinking as I was on the tube coming home on the train, and I was thinking, just a couple of weeks ago, we would have lost that game. We would have, and
Yep.
we would have been a laughing stock. Our
We
fans
would have
gone into
folded like a
meltdown.
cheap deck chair. We would have folded.
I thought you were going to say something else there, but yeah.
Well, tell me what you thought I was going to say.
No, let's not go there. Yeah, yeah.
But really, really. So yeah, very exciting. What do you think happened at halftime then?
I don't think. You see, it plays into everyone's hands to think that Mikel went in there, had a go at them, and told them to pull their socks up.
Yeah.
Because if you look at it, at full time, we ended that match with 42% possession at home.
Yeah, I was going to get there with the stats.
Yeah, something like, I think we had 16 shots on target. No, 16 shots of 5 on target. So if he put a rocket up their backside, then surely they would have performed for the whole 45 minutes. They did. We had bursts. It seems we were controlling it. We came out at the second half, men possessed. What were we doing that we weren't doing in the first half? Went back to one-touch passing, not allowing them time to settle on the ball. We were playing higher up the pitch. We were taking the game to them. Kolasinac was now running, making the wing-back runs. And there was just an overall more intense feeling to our game. Pepe and Ozil came into the game because they were passengers. Now, just to go back to the whole defensive philosophy. In the first half, Pepe, Ozil, Guendouzi, you could say, they were just Lacazette. Yeah, they were unable to play their game because these players are forward thinking, right? Now suddenly you put a defensive model blueprint in their heads. Yeah, mindset. That's right. That's what I was looking for. You give them the defensive mindset, and no, so everybody, like in the stands around me, people were cursing Ozil again, and I thought, hold on, do you not see this is not his game? However, he's in there doing a job. Very clever decoy in one sense because having him on the pitch. If we didn't have him on the pitch, they could have easily thought, hold on, maybe they're not coming to play. Maybe that there's something else going on here. But having him on the pitch allowed us to, play into this whole, like the whole, give him the whole false sense of security. But in the second half, suddenly he was making the one-touch passes. The balls he was feeding, they were exquisite. I was drooling. Suddenly the same fans started to, really take to him. And Pepe was coming more into the game. Lacazette, because suddenly David Luiz, who was it? It was David Luiz and Kolasinac. There was one more, and Xhaka. They were supplying the forwards, i.e. Pepe, Ozil, who in turn were feeding Reece, who was supplying the balls in the middle of the box. And Laka didn't have to drop back as he didn't have to come back as deep, you know.
Yeah. So on 55 minutes, and we do have to reveal that you were um, direct messaging me and you called it. I have the proof. He said 55 minutes. I don't know where he saw that. I was like, this was like 20 minutes before the goal, even, right? It was a halftime DM to me. You said that we would turn it up and score in the 55th minute. It happened. A broken clock and all that, you know?
That was just hey, it was freezing out there tonight in the stands, and I was walking up and down the aisle where I sit, and I was just thinking, if I was in that dressing room, I would say, right, you're gonna have to come out in short, sharp bursts, so they don't get to understand our game. So it's got to be around the 55th mark where things are going to change. And I thought it's going to be sooner because we actually had a chance prior to that, where in the 47th minute, where Reece was put through, but he couldn't find his feet. Unfortunately, the ball got tangled around his feet. But yeah, he makes in the 53rd. He just makes a dash towards the middle of the box, and he's there. Pepe was really holding on to the ball a lot tonight. It was really frustrating to see. First half, second half, his ideology was to get the ball and take on as many players as he could. And it was really frustrating because he would get so far, then run out of steam, get so far and run out of steam. But on this occasion, because all our players were higher up the pitch, he got the ball, he crossed it in, and then Laka played it on to Reece, I believe, and Reece just, it went in, and it really lifted the crowd.
Kind of a bundled goal, a little bit. The ball gets played in, I think gets deflected off of a Leeds defender. It gets to Nelson, he doesn't get a perfect touch on it, but the touch is enough to get into the goal past the goalkeeper, right?
So I'm going to have to ask you to repeat everything you just said in the last 60 seconds because I lost you. And now you're frozen.
So
No, okay,
when
you're
it's an
back.
Arsenal goal we're talking about, right? So the ball gets played in from the right hand side. It's kind of semi intercepted by a Leeds United defender. The deflected path of the ball comes to Nelson, and he doesn't get a great touch on it, hopes, but it's enough to get past, maybe to shake the keeper a little bit and get past it. Almost like psychs the goalkeeper out a little bit because he doesn't get a great connection on the ball.
No, because I think prior to that, Pepe passed to Laka. Laka went for the shot, but it deflected off the defender, which threw their keeper off, and then Reece just literally walked it in. I mean, hey, it wasn't Messi-esque or like Ronaldo-esque or anything like that,
No,
or even it
no.
wasn't one of Pepe's curlers or anything like that. But it just goes to show that Mikel, going back to Mikel, he is making us win, even if it's ugly.
Yes.
Talking about ugly, in the first half, and even in the second half, we were making tactical flat fouls. There were a couple of times in the first half, I thought Xhaka could have got booked, but he didn't. I don't know how Xhaka did, like, came away from that game without a yellow card. He made some terrible challenges, but then in all fairness, so did Leeds United's players. However, having
Mhm.
said that, it was good to see that we were making the
Definitely.
tactical fouls.
That that's definitely something we talked about in this channel. We need to bring a little bit of dark arts down from Manchester City to the Emirates and teach these players how to practice the dark arts as well.
there was one in the second half where I think it was the second half, or it was towards the end of the first half, where a Leeds player was running straight past Xhaka, and they were on the counter, and Xhaka just spun him. It was a blatant yellow card. However, he got away with it, but it was good to see. I mean, not
Yeah,
in an aggressive way, but we need this in our game. We
that's what
need
we
to
need.
now.
And we know as Arsenal fans, not every yellow card is handed out. Like we know, what the line is, but most fans do. That's a yellow. That's not a yellow. The referee sometimes lets these things go.
And it was kind of a turning point in the game for me because I think Leeds players suddenly realised that this ref is actually letting a lot of things go because, in
Hmm.
my opinion, Lacazette, especially in the second half, he was getting hacked left, right, and centre. Reece was getting roughed up a bit as well. However, you know, unlike the Chelsea and Man United game where the players would bombard the referee, Lacazette and Xhaka were doing it, but not Kolasinac, not Guendouzi. They kind of backed off. So I don't know if this is something that has been spoken about by Mikel and his team, and they're now trying to train the players into, make more tactical fouls. But it's definitely good to see. I think we froze them, viewers.
If you take the
Uh,
Everton game in as well, we've now 3 clean sheets out of 5 games.
5 or 4.
Improvement.
Sorry, I lost you for the last minute again.
Yeah, if you add in that Everton game, which Arteta had a little part to play in, a couple of words here and there to the players, and Freddie Ljungberg secured that draw at Everton. That's 3 clean sheets out of 5.
That's really positive. I
Yeah,
mean, I'm guilty of saying prior to Mikel Arteta's arrival, how can he train these back four? How can he make them suddenly play? And the stats are there. They're
un,
doing what
uncoachable was the word bandied
a-
around.
absolutely. I mean, that's a nice way of putting it. I think I tweeted. I think I called some of them donkeys. But let's not forget, Socrates was right back tonight. Socrates, the most immobile,
Yeah,
rigid player that we have. And as you say, 5 clean sheets.
yeah, yeah.
Um, no, hold on. How can it be 5 clean sheets, Ray?
No, three clean sheets out of 5 games.
Sorry, 3. Yeah,
Us.
right. I was going to say three
And
clean
yes,
sheets.
you can maybe manipulate stats a little bit to make them sound a bit better, but we're taking it. We've had a horrid time this season, and I feel like the storm is ending and the sun is starting to come out behind the clouds. Analogy of a nature, you know. Um, okay, Bournemouth away from home. We're gonna go.
Yeah, in our next game, our next FA Cup game, I think it's going to be a tough one. It was Mikel Arteta's first game. We
Yeah,
drew that game. Um, Going to Bournemouth, I think they got about 10, 12,000 capacity stadium, so it's small and dinky, and the pressure's on.
it's
Every
going to be a
mistake is
real traditional FA Cup tie because of we actually hopes we touched on Wrexham back in the day. That was a real traditional FA Cup tie. Um, could be tough.
well, at least their pitch will be level.
Yeah,
Players will not be kicking clumps of grass rather than the ball.
yeah.
However,
The grounds are a little bit better these days.
I do know, and you're probably aware of this as well, that Bournemouth have a lot of injuries at the moment. So I don't know, what date the fourth round is. However, it's gonna be a tricky game because Bournemouth, they're another well-oiled machine under Eddie Howe. They've got a good discipline, they've got a system, they've got a style of play. So it's going to be interesting. However, I mean, I think it's fair to say, although it is Mikel's just fourth game and now two wins under his belt, it's still early days, because we've seen this with Emery, where under Unai, where we had the 21 unbeaten run,
Yeah.
and then suddenly we just capitulated. There's so much, Mikel is a percentage, a part of the rebuilding process. All the players have a responsibility. Could we just be seeing new manager,
Dare I say bounce? Yeah.
yeah, bounce, or is there
Yeah.
some, the proof will be in the pudding as time goes by. I sincerely hope that we continue to build. I mean, even look at Pep Guardiola. His team are winning one, losing one, winning one, losing one. It's so erratic over there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is where it kind of comes into, where not just FA Cup or Premier League, going into Europa League. This is where in this window we still have not bought anyone. The Champions League winners, the World Cup winners, the top of the league, Liverpool, they've bought, they've put money on the table. And what are we doing? A lot of talk is Mikel wants to develop these players, but are we confident going into, the latter stages of Europe or the latter stages of the FA Cup,
Yeah.
that, these players are going to be able to stand the test of time?
No, you got suspensions. We've already been hit with injuries. We need to pad the squad up a little bit with 2 or 3 inclusions, coming in. The ties are going to be played between the 24th and 27th of January. So the last weekend in January, FA Cup will
Wow.
roll on.
17th to 28th.
Yeah, that's only a few weeks, 3 weeks away now.
Absolutely. And it just goes to show now, Mikel's keeping his side of the bargain. The players in the last 4 games are stepping up. All right, there are errors. It's evident. Even tonight,
Yeah.
there were errors. Xhaka was just really
Well, these
concerning.
things will keep our feet on the ground, right? Nobody's getting
Absolutely.
carried away here.
Absolutely. But now the other part of the equation is the board. Are they willing to put some money down on the likes of
Yep.
Upamecano, D I forget the other guy's name, D Mel, D someone, D
ML and
D
from
Mel,
Juventus, even Koulibaly.
Koulibaly. We do seem to need another centre back. The games are going to
Yeah.
be coming thick and fast, and I don't know if you remember, but January to March, stroke April, always sees us, go down a hill. So it was this one of the things Mikel was promised. When he took the role, is this one of the things he was he was asked and he
Yeah.
was he asked for and he was promised.
Certainly, in recent years, we've gone downhill in the spring. It used to be back in the day where we'd get stronger. To me, November was always the most difficult. Going back in the turn of the century, let's say. But Liverpool, Chelsea, and Leicester get away ties in the fourth round. So let's just go through the draw really quickly.
Sure.
Watford or Tranmere play Wolverhampton Wanderers or Manchester United. Hull City play Chelsea. Southampton are home to Middlesbrough or Tottenham. If Tottenham can get their act together there. QPR at home to Sheffield Wednesday. Bournemouth at home to Arsenal, the mighty Arsenal. Northampton at home to Derby County. Brentford at home to Leicester. Millwall at home to Sheffield United. Reading or Blackpool versus Cardiff City or Carlisle. West Ham versus West Brom. Burnley versus Norwich, so that's an all Premier League tie there. Bristol Rovers or Coventry City versus Birmingham City. Manchester City versus Fulham. So City are at home. Rochdale or Newcastle United versus Oxford United. Portsmouth versus Barnsley, and last but not least, Bristol or Shrewsbury versus Liverpool. So hopes we have a chance. Maybe not in this round because I think a lot of the clubs will still be invested in the FA Cup. But certainly, if we get a decent draw, and not we're not overlooking Bournemouth at this point. If we get a decent draw after Bournemouth, um, some of the bigger clubs will be involved in Champions League. We'll be involved in Europa League ourselves. I think we have to take it as a case by case situation and see how far we can go in this competition.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, for some clubs, um, the FA Cup is a massive chance of some silverware, and it is a cup of dreams where anything's possible. In recent years, so many upsets. Last year Watford got to the final and then totally capitulated. Um, against the almighty City.
City, yeah,
Some interesting ties there, and I like the fact that there's some lower league teams against some, Championship or Premier League opposition because you just never know. It's one
yeah,
game, and on the night anything could happen.
yeah. I mean, looking at this, there's very few English Premier League, all English Premier League ties. The only one I think, well, is ourselves in Bournemouth.
Yep.
Then there is where was the other one?
Was it West Ham?
Burnley versus Norwich City.
Sorry, yeah, Burnley versus Norwich. Yeah,
So yes, and a lot of the lower league teams have home games, so that's definitely going to be an advantage to them. So we'll look for some upsets in the next round.
yeah, absolutely. It's always a possibility, and to be honest, it's nice to see as well because let's not let's not kid ourselves that some of these lower league teams, financially, it's massive for them. It gets
Yeah,
televised, and it to some of these clubs it means remaining financially afloat.
mm,
Not folding.
yeah,
Being able to buy in other players. And it's nice for the fans across the board. Okay, their tickets might not be as extortionate as that at the Emirates or elsewhere, but it really, you just never know, and it's so good to see.
that is the magic of the FA Cup. Uh, Lower league teams pitting themselves against bigger clubs, um, possibly getting that upset, getting the revenue, like you said, that they need. They could play 20 league games and not get the same revenue from this one game in the FA Cup. All if it would be away from home, especially like Manchester City or an Old Trafford, one of those bigger teams. You know what I mean?
Wouldn't it be wonderful, right? I can just see this happening. Man United doing a number on Wolves and then going and losing to Tranmere away. I can just see that happening. I would love for that to
Yeah.
happen.
Of course, they're so inconsistent, right?
Absolutely. And similar to Spurs, it seems like already Jose's bubble is being burst. Kane is injured, Son is out, and yeah, you just don't know which way it's going to go. And
And
the worse it gets for him, the more
yeah,
he'll start to, start looking at the opposition tactics again and doing all these mad things. It's like you
our
just don't know
parking
what.
costs everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. You just don't know what
Um,
he's going to come up with
yeah,
next.
I mean, even that weird altercation with the Southampton coach, was it a goalkeeping coach? That was just so different.
Yeah. And the beauty is that it then takes the limelight off a young manager like Mikel Arteta. We
Yeah,
just slip under the radar whilst all these banter clubs, just carry on doing what they generally do, taking the hopefully, taking the limelight and the attention off of us, so we can just just shimmy through there,
yeah,
and it's more hope, it's more opportunity, it's more chance for us to develop Mikel Arteta's style of play. And to be honest, I wouldn't mind someone like a Tranmere away or a Port Vale or whoever it is away. You know, those lower league
Real,
clubs, seeing our top stars go there and
yeah,
having to put in a shift and to remember what it was once like for them. You know,
yeah.
where they once were.
Dressing room that looks like a dilapidated toilet with some stalls in there to sit. You
Yeah,
know, an old shower.
absolutely, getting some real stick of the players who are really close and
Yeah,
of the fans, sorry, who are really close, and
yeah.
it can be very intimidating. I don't. It was in Wenger's last year when we played. Who was that?
Sutton United.
Sutton United. That was it. And there was such a like because we were on a downward spiral then, and
Yeah,
there was talk about us losing the game, but we actually went and won the game. But it was that intensity that the
and that
players
was a
had to feel.
small ground, small dressing room, tight quarters. Um, hopes. Whatever way the fixtures worked out for us, it might have worked in our favor. Having quick games. First game for Arteta away to Bournemouth, and that might actually stand us in good stead for this return FA Cup tie. But then to continue with three quick home games, it kind of has helped Arteta set his philosophies into the squad a little bit within the healthy confines of the Emirates, the familiar surroundings of the Emirates. Now I'm casting an eye. After every victory, it's sweet, but it's short lived. Let's cast an eye forward to Crystal Palace at the weekend, away from home.
Yeah, I mean, you know, before I speak about Crystal Palace, you see, our quick succession of games could have gone either way. It could have been massively overwhelming for Mikel.
Yep.
So many games so soon. It could have been um, disastrous, in the sense that, loss after loss after loss. And where would that,
And
would
out
have,
of the FA Cup too. You
yeah,
think of the headlines
absolutely.
tomorrow.
And where would that, left the dressing room? The media would have been on our case. Everybody, it would have been up close and personal. But he's
Yeah.
actually navigated it really well, And yeah, going into Crystal Palace, hey, they, with the likes of Zaha, he wants to show us why it was a mistake getting Pepe. Um,
Yeah, no
like
doubt.
that they're attacking players at the middle of the park. And Andrews Townsend, I think he's going to be available for this game. They and at their ground is their fans are very vocal at home. They've got the drum beating and they've got an entire section just for those who want to sing um, there, and it's going to be an interesting game. I think it's going to be a tough game tactically. I think
Of course.
it was good that we rested Terrera, or Terrier as I like to call him, the little terrier.
A little Uruguayan terrier.
Absolutely, a Uruguayan terrier. Because he's going to need to be on his game. For the Palace away this Saturday, I believe it is. And
Yep.
not just that, but our attackers, like hopefully Aubameyang's back, because Lacazette is a bit hit and miss. And it's going to be interesting to see after today what style of play Mikel goes with, what his formation is going to be, and more importantly, how's he going to manage this? Like, are we going to go all guns blazing in the first half and then just try and sit back in the second half? Because Palace
Mhm.
have got pace up front.
Yeah.
Zaha will definitely start ripping our players up. He will be, if he's on the left, he's going to. Well, yeah, we don't even have any right backs, do we, at the minute? So who's going to. Ainsley. Ainsley will come back. Right, okay, yeah. Ainsley will be up against Zaha. So that's going to be interesting. But I've got full faith in Ainsley because, he played well against Chelsea, well against Man United.
Yeah.
So,
His
he's
confidence
young.
will be returning. I
Absolutely.
like we talked. I think I talked about this at the podcast over the weekend. Ainsley Maitland-Niles' confidence after being shot under Emery. It seems to have flowed back under Arteta now.
Man management comes to mind. Him,
Absolutely.
Reece Nelson, Xhaka, David Luiz, Ozil. So
You
many are
can,
coming out of
yes,
Chelsea.
you, yeah,
And it would be great if Laka managed to get a goal because he really needs to
yeah.
get
I think
on
that
that.
might be the one player we can all see that's struggling in the squad to at least score goals. He is. Nobody's doubting that he's not putting the effort in. Maybe he's putting in. You can get to a place in sport that maybe you try too much hopes and it doesn't work for you when you try. You push too much, you push too hard, and it doesn't come for you.
It's a really good point because I saw that in Reece Nelson tonight as well as Lacazette. They were just trying too hard. Laka had one or two shots, but mainly in the second half because in the first half it wasn't that game. In the first half, it just
Yeah,
wasn't meant to be that game. But in the second half, he had one or two shots, but you could see that he was holding on to the ball too long. He was, getting the ball was getting caught up in his feet. Um, but again, he was working his work rate was phenomenal, and it would be great for him to get put his name back on the score sheet, on
yeah,
Saturday.
yeah.
Um, and it's going to also be interesting because if Aubameyang is back for that game, what does that then mean? Like who's going to be left off? Is Pepe going to hit the bench, reach back to the right, and Aubameyang on the left? Will Laka be left off? Laka got taken down a few times today as well, earlier on this evening. So you know,
A good 5 days to rest the squad. The squad can recuperate a little bit, and then go against again for Crystal Palace away from home
you think we have
um,
that luxury?
to rest for 5 days.
Yeah.
Well, at least any kind of niggling injuries can be helped along those 5 days. I don't think that Arteta is going to let them rest on their laurels. Back on the training field again in the next couple of days, I'm sure.
Well, it's actually, if you look at it, it's actually 3 days, isn't it? So if it's the 7th today, what it is in the UK, the game is to be played on Saturday. And then we have a week, we have a clear 7 days until we play Sheffield United, but from on the 18th at the Emirates. But then we have, we have 3 games in 7 days. We've got Sheffield United on the 18th, followed by Chelsea on the 21st, away, and then Bournemouth away on the 25th
Yeah,
in the fourth cup
the
in
FA
the
Cup.
fourth round.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's in the next 3 clear days before Saturday, you could argue, because Saturday's match day. Um, what is Mikel going to be trying to do? I think he's got to take it on a game by game basis because these players. It's a lot for the players to take in as well, and change. You can't even argue there's been change in personnel tonight. There was only, I think, so Ainsley was missing, Aubameyang was missing, Torreira was missing. So there's only 3 players.
Right. Yeah.
So is he keeping that consistent with David Luiz in the back line, Lacazette up front, Ozil in the team, because he's trying to get them to develop their relationship, in real time.
Hope so. Quick word about Holding before we get out of here. Uh, I understand he struggled today, Rob Holding.
I didn't see it. I mean,
Okay. And
within
it's a game of opinions. I just read somebody's opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that, but honestly, I didn't see him get beat. I didn't see him make any silly mistakes. Within 4.5 stroke 5 minutes, he was shouting at Xhaka because Xhaka didn't run back.
Yeah.
It was beautiful to watch. He was mopping up. He looked confident. He looked comfortable, even when he was in one-on-one situations. Yes, okay, I've just remembered. There was a couple of times when he tried to play out of the back to feed Pepe, but Pepe was the wrong side of his player. So the Leeds player
He was
just
playing it
intercepted.
directly to his player. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. The Leeds guy who was player who was on Pepe just ran ahead of Pepe, or he was already in front of him, so he picked up the ball. But I didn't see any other than that, and that did not lead to them counter-attacking and getting a clear shot on goal. I didn't see anything to be alarmed about. You know,
Yeah.
talking about centre back Socrates, however, two clear chances off corners. One went too far wide, and one went way over the bar. But just to get himself in those positions, Socrates put a shift in. To me, he was very close to be my man of the match. But going back to Rob Holding, I thought for his comeback game, it was a hard game to come back in, especially in that system. Okay, you could argue he's used to playing in a back three, or a rotating back three, which because it was transforming to back four. But I
Yeah.
think he handled the occasion really well. If I'm honest, I would go as far as saying put him in against Palace.
Okay, hopes we'll leave it there. Thanks very much. I'm just going to share this one thing with you. To the tune of "Oh Santi Cazorla," I've been singing "Oh Mikel Arteta, Oh Mikel Arteta." I
Wow.
don't sing very often because I'm not one of the better singers, but I had to share that with everybody. Uh, let's 2 wins in a row, baby. Let's keep this going.
Before you go, sorry, they had a chant for Martinelli tonight, and I'm not much of a singer, but it went Martinelli, da, 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 da. Yeah, something like that. It went like that. I mixed it up, but yeah, you get the gist. But yeah, I thought it was really
Yeah.
good, and he was really like, because from when he came on, he was Martinelli esque. He didn't stop. He just carried on and on and on. So good to
Yeah, it's
see.
going to be interesting to see who gets a nod for Crystal Palace. I'm
You
thinking
seem to have frozen again.
Reece Nelson
You seem to have frozen again.
over
You seem to have frozen
and
again.
thanks for
I hear
coming in.
you.
Really, really appreciate it.
Wicked. Thanks a lot, Ray.
Two
Thanks
wins
for
in a
having me.
row. Let's make it
Absolutely.
three.
Onwards and upwards. Thanks a lot, Ray.
Onwards and upwards.
Take
Come
care.
on, you Gooners.
Up the
Take care.
Arsenal. See
Up
ya.
the
Good night.
Arsenal. Good night, everybody.